I'd like to welcome everybody to the City Commission meeting tonight, and we just ask if you could please silence or turn off your cell phones, and remind everybody that our meetings are televised every day at Channel 2 at 6 p.m. and midnight, and also available for viewing on YouTube. With that, we're going to go ahead and have a call to order with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a silent prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we're going to get started tonight with some proclamations. Okay, and we've got a few here, and as I call these out, if you don't mind coming up, if you're representing tonight, and if you'd like to share a few words after the reading, that'd be great. If not, that's all right. This will be for economic development. All right. Okay, City of Leavenworth, Kansas, proclamation. Whereas communities rely on economic development professionals to promote economic well-being and quality of life for communities like the City of Leavenworth. That means coordinating activities that create, retain, and expand jobs in order to facilitate growth, enhance wealth, and provide a stable tax base. And whereas economic developers stimulate and incubate entrepreneurism in order to help establish the next generation of new businesses, which is the hallmark of the American economy. And whereas economic developers are engaged in a wide variety of settings, including rural and urban, local, state, provincial, and federal governments, private-public partnerships, chambers of commerce, universities, and a variety of other institutions. Now, therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of Leavenworth, the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 6th to 10th, 2024 to be Economic Development.
Do a lot, don't we?
Yes, you do.
Well, I'm gonna keep it short and sweet, but myself and my colleagues, both Lisa and Diana, we are so grateful for the support, and we look forward to a continuing relationship with the city. Thank you.
So much. Appreciate that. Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
I think it's supposed to thank you. Okay, National Police Week. Good. Whereas there are approximately 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including 55 sworn members of the City of Leavenworth Police Department, and whereas the Congress of the United States of America has designated a calendar week each year during which May 15th occurs as National Police Week, and May 15th of each year to be Peace Officers Memorial Day. And whereas the names of those dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial in Washington, D.C., there are more than 24,000 names of fallen heroes engraved on the memorial, on which 136 officers were killed in 2023. And whereas the members of the City of Leavenworth Police Department play an essential role in safeguarding the rights and freedoms of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, and whereas the citizens of Leavenworth and our leaders pledge to stand with the families of the fallen officers, the officers protecting our community, and the officers throughout the United States, and to honor their loss as they protect their communities. And whereas all officers of the Leavenworth Police Department are encouraged to turn on their red and blue lights for 1 minute every day at 11 a.m. from May 12th through May 18th, 2024. Now, therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 12th to the 18th, 2024 to be National Police Week. Thank you very
much. Thank you, Mayor Martin and Commissioners. On behalf of the men and women of the Leavenworth Police Department, we greatly appreciate the proclamation and all the kind words. More importantly, this is a very hard job, and they do a lot of work very hard to keep the community safe and to serve the community. So your support makes that much easier, and we greatly appreciate it. Thank you again.
Okay, whereas Public Works professionals focus on infrastructures, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of Leavenworth, and whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of Public Works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens, and whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children in the Leavenworth to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. Now therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 19th through 25th, 2024 to be Leavenworth Public Works Week.
Just on behalf of all of our Public Works employees, we want to thank the Commission and all of our residents for the support that we have each year. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Okay, National Travel and Tourism Week. Christy, how are you? Good, thank you. Whereas travel to and within Kansas provides a significant economic benefit to the state with 36.4 million visitors to Kansas in 2022 with a direct spending of $7.7 billion. And whereas when indirect and induced impacts are included, that total economic impact becomes $12.5 billion for the state of Kansas in 2022. And whereas state and local taxes alone tallied $777 million in 2022, each household in Kansas needed to be taxed an additional $660 to replace the visitor-generated taxes. And whereas visitor activity supported a total of 88,509 jobs in 2022, including 63,685 direct jobs and 24,824 jobs supported through indirect and induced impacts. This equates to 1 in 22 jobs in Kansas. Good information. Whereas the city of Leavenworth realized approximately $10.8 million from overnight visitor expenditures in 2023 per the Smith Travel Research Report, validating the unique significance of the national travel industry in the lives of the citizens of Leavenworth, Kansas. Now therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of the city of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 19th through 25th, 2024 to be National Travel and Tourism Week.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor Martin and Commissioners. We really appreciate this. My department works hard all year long, and that the National Travel and Tourism Week was established in 1983. So it's been around a long time in that, and it's celebrated annually. And we are looking forward to this year's celebrations. So stay tuned. Social media will be all crazy with it. So thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, United States Disciplinary Barracks.
Introduce.
Thank you. Try not to butcher this one here. Whereas May 21st, 2024 is the 150th anniversary of the founding of the United States Disciplinary Barracks, USDB, formerly named the United States Military Prison, a prison for the confinement and reformation of offenders against the rules, regulations, and laws for the government of the Army of the United States, and whereas the USDB leadership has provided for the education, training, rehabilitation, and welfare of the military offenders with the mission to restore to duty, enlist for future service, or return to civilian life as useful citizens. And whereas some businesses in the city of Leavenworth partnered with the USDB to provide USDB trustees an opportunity to participate in a work release program in the community while learning valuable job skills. And whereas many of the USDB service members, civilians, and their families live, work, and play in the Leavenworth community. And whereas the USDB's motto of "Our mission, your future" symbolizes the can-do attitude, spirit of teamwork, and the philosophy of the USDB, the professional, multidisciplined USDB staff continue to maintain the worldwide reputation of the USDB being the center of military corrections excellence. Now, therefore, I, Griff Martin, Mayor of the City of Leavenworth, Kansas, hereby proclaim May 21st, 2024 as a celebration of the sesquicentennial anniversary of the United States Disciplinary Barracks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So on behalf of the Army Corrections Brigade, the USDB, I proudly accept this proclamation. So next week is our sesquicentennial anniversary, where we celebrate 150 years of our existence. And we take great pride in what we do, in being productive members of your community, but also in our corrections mission, we create or recreate productive members of society based on our inmate population. So I just want to say thank you. I also want to say thank you to Mr. Pete Grande, the former chief of staff, who was an institution at the USDB. He didn't want to come up here with me. He wanted to take the picture. But a lot of the credit goes to Pete, so thank you very much.
Sir, what is your name, please?
Colonel Kevin Payne,
Thank you.
P-A-Y-N-E. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And with that, we will move on to old business, consideration of previous meeting minutes. Minutes from April 23rd, 2024, regular meeting. I just need a motion on that if we're good.
I move to approve the minutes from April 23rd, 2024, regular meeting.
I second.
Motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Motion passed 5-0. Second consideration ordinance, item 3, ordinance number 8243, rezoning 707 Pawnee Street from office business district to high-density, single-family residential.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, there have been no changes or questions from the previous reading. It is available for second consideration and ready to proceed.
Okay. Roll call vote here then. No questions?
I don't have any questions.
Okay. So all in favor then?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Motion passed. Item 4, second consideration of ordinance number 8244, special use permit for college or university use at 4100 South 4th Street.
Mr. Mayor, again, this is up for second consideration. This is so that St. Mary's University can operate under a special use permit, and so it's ready to proceed.
Okay, cool. No questions here? Anybody else? Okay. Then we'll just begin voting with Commissioner Hingula.
Aye.
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 All right, 5-0 pass. New business public comment. Do we have anybody tonight, sir?
No one has signed up.
Okay, all right. Then with that, we'll move on to, got one right here? Okay. You want to go ahead and come on up and just state your name and address? And just want to remind everybody, we'll keep our comments to 2 to 3 minutes tonight. There won't be any action taken by the commission on public comment. Please, thanks for coming tonight.
My name is Ricky Giles. I got a home at 202 Potawatomi, and I was pretty much raised up here in Leavenworth. And I believe I was here in 2018 for some code enforcement things I had to complete, and I completed everything. Then my home started peeling within 2 years, and the contractor didn't come back and do it. So I pretty much had court or whatnot, and they said pretty much no progress has been done, but there's been progress. I mean, because I told the lady, I'm not repainting the house, somebody else is gonna paint it. So in a nutshell, and pretty much you can go anywhere in North Leavenworth and find a ton of homes that's paint's peeling or whatnot. And I'm asked the second time to repaint my home, and I believe it's like the city is selectively pretty much targeted my home, because if you stand in the corner of 202 Potawatomi and do a circle, you can see all the houses that's, needs way more maintenance than mine. And you just can't repaint a pre-antebellum home. You gotta do a lot of prep and paint. And some of these homes is just painted over, and I like to do stuff the right way. But, with me getting mail talking about warrants and arrests just to paint the home, it kind of bothers me a little bit, because I've done everything y'all asked. I think Mr. Jermaine and Mr. Nancy probably seen the results from the fire to now, and the equity growing a lot. So, and I always get it done, whatnot, but I just said I need time because I'm doing it by myself. When I did it by myself, it was going good, but then I hired somebody because code enforcement wanted it immediately, And the professional that did it, his area started peeling, so now I'm doing that all by myself. I got a contractor working with me, and I've been on it all this week. So, but in a nutshell, like I said, I believe it's selectively targeting my home. And I talked to Miss Kathy Atkins, and I said, you know, when she came to me the second time, like 2018, now 2024, I said, that home been looking like that when I was a teenager, peeling and all that. So why you keep addressing me? And right before my court, they hurried up and painted that home. But what if I would have told them all the 40 that I took pictures of, you know? So, in a nutshell, like I said, I just feel like they selectively targeted my home. I don't know why, but yeah, but I always get it done, you know? It's just me doing it. And my last thing, the sidewalks. If you look at the sidewalks with the wheelchair, you know, accessible, you know, I think y'all had a grant to do that pretty much, put it in. If you look at all the sidewalks pretty much around North Leavenworth or whatnot, and also back on the home, I also took pictures of houses on South Leavenworth and all that, still peeling, you know, but like back to the sidewalks. It seems like mine has a puddle. You know, you look at all the rest of them, they level where the rain can come off and no dirt or whatnot. And the wheelchair, you know, for somebody that gets handicapped to go up on them. But y'all, I believe y'all got the block grant and put it, you know, in front of my house. And so now they're just going through mud and sand. But if you look at all the wheelchair ramps and you go to the corner of 202 Potawatomi, you'll see a pile of dirt on the wheelchair ramps. But every other ramp is like level and goes off. So I don't know. I don't know if it was done because there were some issues earlier, because I had to call Topeka before on the sidewalks, because they wanted to take my sidewalks. I'm like, no. So now, if you look, my house is just brick, and everything else is from the city. But I'm like, how'd y'all make it where it puddled, you know? But you look at all the rest, I don't know if it's purpose or whatnot, or just, it's just that way. So I just like to take a look at that. So 2 things, the sidewalk and my home. And my last thing, back on my home, when I was in court, I showed them the 618 documents. Remember that all the tasks I had to do. They said they don't remember any of it. So I thought I'd let you know that too.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. No other comment?
No.
We will move on to item 5, mayor appointments. Get over here. All right.
Page 21.
Yes, thank you. All right, I'm Mayor Martin. Move to reappoint to the Board of Zoning Appeals Kathy Kim to a term ending May 1st, 2027. Appoint to the Building Code Board of Appeals Brent Motley to a term ending May 1st, 2029. Reappoint to the Electrical Board of Appeals Craig Schmidling to a term ending May 1st, 2029. Reappoint to the Leavenworth Planning Commission Kathy Kim, Don Homan, and Bill Wall, 2 terms ending May 1st, 2027. Reappoint to the Leavenworth Preservation Commission Richard Jackson to a term ending April 15th, 2027. Reappoint to the Mechanical Board of Appeals Carl Kreutzer to a term ending May 1st, 2029. Appoint to the Plumbing Board of Appeals Michael McCann to a term ending May 1st, 2029.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengela.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0. Item 6, 2024 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Application.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, the acting police chief, Nicodemus, will present this item for us this evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. The Leavenworth Police Department is before you tonight to ask for approval to apply for the 2024 Edward Byrne discretionary grant in the amount of $350,000. This grant came about through discussions with congressional leaders over needs in law enforcement. And one of those needs that was identified was to replace some aging and inoperable bomb unit equipment. In particular, the bomb robot is 21 years old and parts have become unavailable. We've been having to try to fix them on our own with our own skills and parts. The Manufacturer does not support the that particular model of bomb robot anymore and aren't supplying parts anymore. So in addition to that, we have a need to replace our bomb suits every 5 years. The material that they're made out of is only has a shelf life of about 5 years before they are no longer guaranteed for their effectiveness. We had previously been before the commission to ask for monies, part of that being with the CIP. This grant will allow us to return that money to the CIP program for other needs. We had also become aware of a grant through MARC, the Mid-America Regional Council, that would have helped out with this as well. That grant will be returned to MARC and available for use by the other agencies in the metropolitan area. So again, we're here tonight before you to request approval to apply for the grant in the amount of $350,000 to spend on bomb unit equipment over the next 4 years. Be happy to answer any questions that you may have about this.
Anybody?
After 21 years, I'd think a bomb robot would be extinct.
Tired.
Didn't know they had
Really?
robots 21 years ago.
Yeah, I don't have any questions. I think I'm glad it's available there.
Well, I move that we authorize the police department to apply for the 2024 Edward Byrne discretionary grant in the amount of $350,000.
Second.
All right, motion been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Right, resolutions. Item 7, Resolution B2370, resolution of support for grant application for downtown ADA sidewalk ramp improvements project.
Yeah, Commissioner, our Public Works Director, Brian Faust, will make this presentation.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This item is to consider approval of a resolution of support needed for a Transportation Alternatives TA grant for the downtown ADA sidewalk ramp improvements project. In 2023, the city did hire Wilson and Company to design ADA ramps in our downtown. During the design process, the city was notified that KDOT was accepting concept papers for possible 2024 TA grants. The city did submit a concept paper, and on March 29th, we were notified that the concept is eligible for federal funds for this program. The completed application is due actually this Friday, and they do require a resolution of support for the online application process. The TA program is an 80-20 matching program that helps pay for construction and construction engineering. Right-of-way acquisition and utility relocations are not covered by the grant. This project is also eligible to receive the 20% match, the Highway Safety Improvement Program. Total estimated construction and construction engineering cost is $590,000. An additional $100 to $1,200 was estimated for utility relocation. If the grant is awarded, the approximate cost to the city would be $119,200. If we receive the 20% match through the Highway Safety Program, our cost would be about $1,200. If we don't apply, or if we don't get the grant, the city will need to fund the project at 100%. And it will take many years to complete the improvements by doing a smaller number of ramps each year. So the city staff does recommend the city commission approve Resolution B2370 for the downtown ADA sidewalk ramp improvement project.
All right. Now, Mr. Faust, when would you get notified, do you think, on acceptance or award of
I
grant?
think actually fairly quickly, they're wanting to move forward with the project. I don't have an exact date.
Okay.
So it'll be before budget hearings. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I was just curious about it, yeah. Cool. Any other questions?
Yeah.
All right, I'd say, well,
I'm-
let's just have your number one grant writer ready.
I move we approve Resolution B2370, resolution of support for grant application for downtown ADA sidewalk ramp improvements project.
Second.
All right, motion been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 Motion passed. All right.
Mr. Faust is up next.
Okay, next item, then bids, contracts, and agreements. Consider award of design services contract for 10th and limit safety projects, improvement projects.
In December of 2021, the city was notified of a grant opportunity for intersection improvements that would improve safety at high crash locations. We could actually apply for up to 4 locations. We worked with the police department and identified kind of the high force crash locations. And we did select the intersection of 10th and Limits to submit for improvements. The city worked with a company called Merge Midwest Engineering to evaluate our options for safety improvements at 10th and Limits. Based on our submittal to KDOT, the city received an offer letter from KDOT stating that we were eligible for $1 million in funding to help cover the cost of these improvements. This is a 90-10 grant that covers construction and construction engineering associated with the project. The city will need to pay the 10% for construction and 100% of the design services and any right-of-way acquisition that's needed. In addition to the crash history at this location, the city recently completed a traffic signal assessment report, and that identified this intersection of having signals that were reaching their end of life, and that they recommended we replace those in the year 2025 or 2026. So these two projects or programs work well together. The city posted a request for qualification for design services and emailed the request to 6 firms. The city did receive 2 proposals, one from Merge Midwest and a team with JEO Consulting Group, and the second proposal was from Affinis. Based on the review of the proposals, Merge Midwest was identified as the top firm. City staff worked with Merge Midwest to negotiate a detailed scope of services along with an engineering fee for the work. As the engineering fee is non-participating, the city will be responsible for the entire cost. The design fee is a not-to-exceed amount of $150,343.62, and the current estimated project total cost is about $1.52 million. So the design cost is roughly 10% of that, which is actually very good. We're seeing 12 to 15% is pretty standard. Funding is available in the grant matching capital project fund. The staff does recommend the city commission authorize the mayor to sign a design services contract with Merge Midwest for the safety improvements to the intersection of 10th and Limits in the amount of $150,343.62. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
This is awesome, to be able to get 90-10.
So what's going to be different now than what they currently have? Because I sit through this light for a long time, every day.
One of the main things, it'll be actually a dedicated southbound right turn lane.
Okay.
All new signals at the intersection. So the detection and the timing will be improved, and there'll be ADA improvements around the intersection.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because a lot of kids walk through there too, from school.
Cool. Any other questions or comments?
Do we have any kind of a schedule?
Yeah, basically the process, once we award it, is about a 14-month process for the design and to work through the KDOT process.
Okay.
And so this would be constructed in probably 2026 is when the funding's in.
Ms. Rouse, do you know, just out of curiosity, how much money we have left in the grant matching capital projects fund? Just rough idea.
I honestly don't know that.
Okay,
number.
I was looking for Roberta, but okay. With that, then we just need a motion.
I move authorizing the mayor to sign the design services contract with Merge Midwest Engineering for the safety improvements to the intersection of 10th and Limit in the amount not to exceed $150,343.62.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Hengela.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0. Thank you very much. And with that, we'll move on to staff report, Central Business District Special Event Street Closure Policy.
Mr. Mayor, Commission, I'll handle this matter. The staff is before the City Commission tonight to discuss a policy that would regulate street closures in the Central Business District. I'd like to start at the very beginning, provide some historical context, and work our way through up to where we are today. In 2007, in the 2008 era, the city of Leavenworth spent $640,000 to renovate the Haymarket Square Center with the cover and completely renovate that. Several years later, they spent another $70,000, give or take, to add the bathrooms into that facility. The purpose behind that was to create a place in the center of the city of Leavenworth in the central district to have events. And since that time, I was appointed police chief from 2008 until now. That has been the general posture of the city of Leavenworth to sort of have all of these events at Haymarket Square. A lot of people use that, the farmers market, the concerts, and all of that stuff. That has been the general posture. Previous iterations of the city commission prior to this group had been very reluctant to allow events to be held on city streets, in public streets that required traffic to be blocked and that sort of thing. That was something that we just didn't do. We had a few requests over the years, and the previous iterations of the commission just weren't willing to do that. They were very reluctant to do that, other than very small specific events. In the course of the last year or two, we have seen a number of increased requests to do that. As a group, you seem to be much more amenable to allowing to do that, to block streets and remove cars and allow events to do that. And that's perfectly fine, but that is a change pretty fundamentally from where we were the last 15 years, give or take. So about a year or so ago, we started to see some of these requests. I'll sort of identify a few of them. You might recall in August of last year, we got a request to close the 600 block of Cherokee Street for the bike show. Recall, they were here, the event space wasn't quite big enough for them, so there was a request to do that. A little later in the year, in October, we had a request from Wilcott Brewing to close 6th Street, so they were having Oktoberfest. A little later that year, there was the Christmas market, where it was a couple of streets, and then over the course of the April most recent one was the spring clean out, and it was the gravel grinder. That was a bigger boundary of more streets, and ultimately it was intended to be over the course of Saturday and Sunday. Those two events were combined. And so those are different challenges than we've had. We are getting more of them. They are being requested to be bigger. And so it is a question of, at this point, resources. I'd like to take a minute, if I could, to defend the staff a little bit. I'm troubled by the sentiment over the last couple of days that the staff is somehow anti-business or anti-downtown events or anti-business. That's not the case at all. In fact, we have quite an incredible team of people. Brian Bailey and Dave Samerla and Steve Grant from the Parks Department spend a tremendous amount of time and effort doing things to ensure that the parks are clean and the projects are done. Mr. Faust and his team with Derek Burleson and Steve King with the street department and the trash department working very hard. Our city clerk's office dealing with all of that. And so I'm troubled by that. And so they oftentimes don't get a chance to defend themselves, but I'm going to. They do a great job. They work hard. However, they are maxed out at capacity for workload. They just are. When these things are happening and when we are getting these requests, we are making decisions, they are making decisions about taking away from normal operations and then doing these special events. It's not like they don't want to do them, they're just super busy and they're got a lot to do on their plate. So it's a question of resources. They then have an obligation to report to us and to you as decision makers about how we're supposed to pay for that. They don't have any more people, they don't have any more resources, they're doing the best that they can. So, the question that we're facing, ultimately, that you're facing is, who's supposed to pay for that? How are we supposed to account for that? It's not in the city's operational budget to add these new events and add these new requests for resources. It's not. So we need to figure that out. Mr. Kramer was working on this before he left, and then I took the ball as the interim, and then we're working on it, trying to come up with a way that we define how that is supposed to be paid for, because that's what this is a question of. We want the events to take place. We want everybody to thrive in their business, but we have an obligation to explain ourselves how we're supposed to pay for that. So there are generally 3 ways that we have addressed this as a community, as an organization. One is some sort of shared cost fee structure. You have to rent Haymarket Square, you have to rent rooms at the community center, you have to rent park shelters, you can hire police officers as off-duty police officers for private security or traffic control. We have that a lot. That's a way that we could do that. That was how I saw this event or these events where we're blocking significant portions of downtown is sort of similar to that. It's not exactly that, but it was the closest thing that I could come up with that would mirror that to do that. And so that's the theory that I was operating off of, how to come up with this proposal. If you don't want to do that, that's fine, that's fair. The other alternative would be to add money into the city's operational budget, and those discussions are getting ready to start. There are no monies in 2024, but there would be the opportunity in 2025 if you were inclined to do that. It seems like on the surface, it's a fairly small thing to say, a few $1,000s maybe, or something like that. But we've started the budget process. We'll talk about that a little later tonight. And I'm here to tell you that we're going to be facing some very tough decisions. We're not going to be making decisions about what we want versus what we need. We're going to be making decisions about what we need versus what we really need. And then we're also going to have some tough operational decisions. And so, if you were inclined to continue that, that's totally fine. It's simply a question of how we're going to pay for it. Is it a fee structure where the person doing the event has some cost involved in the process as a part of cost of doing business? Or do you want the function to be as part of the city's operational budget where we can do more of these things, but we're going to have to find the money? There isn't any more. It's either going to have to produce new money or take it from somewhere else. And so those are decisions that we're going to have to make. Otherwise, I'm here to tell you I'm not sure that we can keep up this pace, and I'm not sure that we're going to be able to do much more without being disruptive to city services. That's what this conversation is about and should be about, and that's what this proposal is about. It's not about being anti-event or anti-business or for or against anything. It's the department heads meeting their obligation to let us know that they are doing these things, and that's fine, but we have to come up with some way to do a little bit better so we're not cheating one side for the other. That's what the conversation is about. That's what the proposal was about. So the best way to do that I came up with was a fee to do an application for $25. And then if you want to close a city block in the central business district, it would be $100 a block to do that. How did we come up with that number? I'll give you some information about that. We evaluated staff time. So for example, the police officers that had to show up down there and identify the cars that were still in the thing, or still in the environment down there. I run the tags, identify the owner, try and get the owners out, otherwise move. So there were 2 officers down there. They were down there for give or take about an hour. The rate for that is $70. Those 2 officers, hourly rate was $70. Then you start to sort of work backwards and you evaluate that there were street crews, there were barricades being dropped off, there were barricades being put up, coming back and getting them. That's how we came to that sort of number. It wasn't made up. We did the best that we could to identify what the costs are. It's conservative. I would argue probably it's more than $100 to do.
Yeah, those are just the direct costs, yeah.
But it was the best that we could sort of do to sort of meet somewhere in the middle of that. So that's the question that is before you tonight. We need some guidance from you. We need you to weigh in and provide. Do you want to still do these events? That's fine. If you do, we need to work to solve how we're going to account for the additional resources necessary for the city to do that. The final piece of the discussion tonight is this. The city of Leavenworth oftentimes, not just these particular events, but very often get requests from other events. Hey, can you bring out some porta potties? Can you bring out generators? Can you bring out picnic tables? Can you do all of these things? We have some of those items, but mostly it's for regular operational functions. You know, we're not a rental company that does that for a living. The stuff that we have is generally for city services and operations. And so if you would like us to change that posture as well and make those more readily available, we can do that. But those are going to be probably exponentially more expensive because we're going to need people and equipment and those kinds of things to do that. And so that's how we got here tonight, is that we need you to weigh in and provide some guidance to us about how you want us to proceed. And then if that's what you want us to do, we'll need to work through the cost of that and how we should do that as equitably as we can. So I'll answer whatever questions you might
I
have.
have,
Go ahead.
whenever. Yeah, having run festivals myself over the years, the city never charged us for closing the streets downtown. I don't know that it's ever been charged for closing the streets downtown. And we had some festivals where the whole downtown, like the Lewis and Clark, where the whole downtown was closed, and several other streets. And for me, I feel like, you know, we're looking at the big picture here. How much sales tax are we generating through these events? If we're generating a lot of extra sales tax, then that would, and that was the impression that I got when I was running the festival, that we were, in doing this, we were generating more sales tax. And in doing that, we're offsetting some of those costs. And so, you know, I personally don't see a need to charge for the street. And as far as hauling cars, I think the person whose car we're hauling should be paying for that. I don't think we should be paying for it, or anybody else should, really. If we're notifying them and they're not moving their car, then they should be charged for it. So I don't understand where that one came.
I'm going to push back on that. A private person cannot tow another private person's vehicle off of city property. That's the responsibility of the city to do that. And so.
No, but if you're notifying the owner of the car, and you're moving the car,
Correct. We are moving the car.
then why doesn't the owner pay for it?
The owner is, I guess the lack of a better word is, the owner is being punished for somebody else's event. They're parked legally on the street and having their car towed off for someone else's event.
I don't know about that. Yeah, I'll have to think about on that one, but I feel like if they've been notified that this is coming up and it is a city street, then why wouldn't they be paying for their own towing fees?
I don't think that's proper. That's why I just don't.
So I got some questions for you. I
Okay.
don't want to
Let's
take
pass on.
everybody's time up or anything, but a lot of questions. But I do agree, we're living in different times right now. Costs are real, direct, indirect costs. Eventually, you know, if we were to say, hey, let's have 100 events, you know, for 2024 into 2025, it's going to be a real cost. We're going to have to have somebody dedicated a certain amount of time there. So it is a real cost, and but before I go down another rabbit hole, I was thinking about it. I actually want to go ahead and ask, maybe if I could, Mr. Waters, our transient guest tax dollars can be used to bring people into the city, right? Promote business, right?
You did by a charter ordinance, you expanded the scope of the use of your transient guest dollars that you can use for economic development incentives. I think it was really done for CVB, Convention Visitor Bureau type purposes, Main Street. It's fairly broad what you can use transient guest dollars now under your charter ordinance.
Because my thought is, just an idea, what if we were to take however many, Mr. Kitchens, Mr. tonight, Mr. Kitchens, that you know, events that we had like this last year, what's the trend? I'd like to come up with a number and figure out what are the true costs to run these. Like let's do it, you know, what's the true cost? Admin, direct, all that. And then see how much of that we could actually set aside. We don't consume all those transient guest tax dollars all the time. I do agree, we bring people in, it is a benefit for, you know, our businesses and everything like that. But if we can do that, we might have the funds there already. And what if we were to every year, say for January through April, like get your requests in now because funding is available for X amount of events. And so it encourages people to go ahead and lock it in, get it scheduled, plan for it. And if the deadline exceeds, maybe, you know, whoever can still put in if there's any money, you know, left. If not, okay, that's our deciding factor. And it's like, so it encourages also people to get some planning done ahead of time too. It's just a thought.
Yeah, I don't think there's any legal reason that you couldn't do that. It'd be a policy budget issue.
Sure.
Then you have your budget, and you have, your revenue side, we're expecting this much on transient guest tax. Okay, what for this year are we going to put that towards? And if we're taking some for this, then you would have to know that that means other things that maybe you were building up for couldn't be done, but that's a policy decision for you as through the budget process.
Because the costs they're real, and somebody's got to pay for it somewhere. But if we actually already have the solution internally, and I think, Ms. Kitchens, from what I saw, I'm sure it's right in here too, that we've been seeing a decent little increase. We're going to kind of be flattening off for what's coming in every year on the transient guest tax funds. We'll be maxing out kind of. But I don't think we use it all every year. And we've been talking about, I know when Mr. Kramer was here, talked about how can we use this to expand more and promote, what could we have? We talked about, the idea of having more events. So maybe we have the solution.
Okay.
Just a thought. But
But
again, I'm sorry, I just want to get that out there.
That's a really good idea. But there's so much more to this policy. I mean, are we gonna close weekend, are we gonna close is there a limited number we're gonna do? Because we can't close the streets every weekend. Or is there we're gonna have a number, like you said, like people apply during this times? I mean, when we do that, and if we do put a cost, when do they pay for that? Do they have to come to us to be approved and then they pay their cost? I mean, there's so many things, like who moves the barricades? Do they move the barricades? Do we move the barricades? What's the time frame? There's so much more to this policy, I think. And I know that's why we're just exploring it tonight, but.
Well, and I think there's different even categories of events too.
Right.
And which because, okay, let's say you have a 501c3 group coming in to organize something, but if somebody's coordinating and vendors are paying to come in, well, where's that money going to? I mean, it's a business function, there's a cost of doing business. I just think there's some criteria we need to iron out. And like you said, go ahead and ask some more questions about,
Go deeper.
Well, an event like this would bring in more tax dollars, more sales tax. There's other events like you were talking about, or there was a church event down there. They aren't bringing in the tax dollars, I don't think, but not like an event like where all of our businesses are involved. But I think that's, looking at the transient guest tax, we would need to see the numbers, how much this amount is gonna cost, and then look at how much we have in our transient guest tax, and then that would determine on how many events we would be able to support,
So we're first talking about the resource part, and if I'm hearing clearly, we're gonna look at the transient guest tax funds to see if we could use that fund to pay for events in the downtown area. Is that what we're agreeing to?
I think if everybody's, in agreement, at least to explore that.
Yeah, exploring that for the one part of the
The
policy.
numbers really are.
Yeah.
So I think I got the first big answer to the question, which is no fees to the event coordinator piece, but find the money in the operational budget. And the first order of business would be to look to the transient guest tax to set aside some portion of that money dedicated to events. Is that correct?
With a quick change, I wouldn't say, probably not saying no to any fees, just let's get more details and
Let's see if we can
see
do it
what's,
first.
say
I
what our
wouldn't
options
say
are.
No fees.
We have a desire, if
If
there's a
we
way
can
to
do
do
it
it,
without
to
fees.
not have.
Right, well, that was the big question.
Everybody
The big
pays.
question was, where do you want us to, as a staff, where do you want this to fall? I have that answer. Then the question is, let's get some specifics to try and put the best guess that we can on what the numbers are gonna look like. Likely, the answer to that question is gonna be in the budget process,
Sure.
which is coming up, which we're starting in the next, that'll be in the next month or so, okay? So we will take that instruction and guidance and go back and do that. We'll then see about whether the issue of fees doesn't appear to be entirely off the table, unless I misheard that, but we'll certainly look at that to see where that might fall. Did I hear that correctly?
Well, I think everybody should have to pay an application fee because everybody does in every event. That $25 is just a given for a parade or for anything.
And I would add, if it's an approved event, then maybe the money can be refunded and that $25 is coming right out of the transient guest tax. So like, make sure you're putting a good effort into process the application the right way, and that you're serious about the event, and if it all gets approved, no problem, okay, great, you get your money back, no problem, or it won't be cashed, or be canceled, or whatever. Maybe there's a way to just get some teeth into it without, overbearing, but, yeah, more information would be great, and if you could find out, Mr. Kitchens, just kind of what do you think after talking to staff, not to make it too complicated, but what is that real cost? I do think your numbers are a little bit low, that you came with, or conservative, I
We
think.
do that intentionally.
Yeah. But if you could find out what is it really, and let's not do this every year, like, okay, let's decide for the next several years, what do we think it's really gonna be? And then,
Okay, so the final piece of the puzzle is that Ms. Pear has 2 pending applications that were on hold. And so what I would like to do then is recommend that we move forward with approval on both of those.
Yeah.
I'm fine with
And with no fees associated with it, as we've discussed tonight, it doesn't sound like we're ready to do that anyway. And then that way she can begin the process of doing continuing her events, and then we will work, because that's gonna be, a couple of months, I think, in the
Sure,
works.
we got budget hearings
And there'll be
too,
budget
so.
hearings.
yeah, for sure. No, I'm fine with that. Is
Do anything for
everybody
that,
fine with that?
so.
Yeah,
Do I need to make a motion for that, or is that, can we just approve that?
consensus.
Consensus?
Well, this is, yeah, we don't have a motion on
I
here, we
think
just,
so, right, Sarah?
You can do consensus. I was just gonna ask, do you guys want specifics of
Well,
when? I have the information, so I'm happy to share it.
Go ahead.
I just so you know. I mean, I do
Yeah,
have
I know
it,
that
so.
there's one for August and one for December.
Yeah, so I can, if you want, I can go over
Go
the
ahead.
dates and the
Yes,
times
yes,
that I have.
please
listed.
do,
Yes.
please do.
I
So,
agree.
I'm also here to answer questions if needed.
so the footprint of the event would mimic the same, yes, Mr. Hengela, sorry.
I agree. I think we all are agreed, move forward with what you're doing.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
But for those 2, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, except there's 2 of them.
That's what I figured, so. So the footprint we're talking about is the same footprint as the, spring clean out event, so from Shawnee to Cherokee and transfers to 4th Street is the best way to describe that. So the first event is August 3rd. The event itself would be from 10 to 6 p.m. The street closure request would happen at 3 a.m. by the police department and would end at 8 p.m. so that the vendors could obviously load in and load out. And then the December 7th event would be the Christmas market. And that event would be from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. for the event itself. Street closure occurring about 3 a.m. As we normally do, and then reopen the street again at 10 p.m. for load in and load out times.
What was the date on that one?
December 7th. I did check the schedule.
A
There's
day
not
which will live in infamy.
Yes. Yes, and I did look when Ms. Pear did submit that, just to make sure there wasn't a conflict with the River City Players Christmas Carol, and that is the week after, so
okay,
there won't be any
That's
issues
good.
with anybody having accessibility to the Playhouse. So that's the information on those 2 dates that you would like to move forward with.
And that'll also be the same footprint.
Yes, same footprint, yes, sir.
Yeah, so,
Thank you,
So is there
everybody.
consensus for that?
yes,
Consensus for that?
and I do want to say one final thing. The city does support downtown
We know that.
businesses
We love you guys, we really do.
and the events that you all are doing. We know it bringing guests to our community. It provides so much fun and excitement to the citizens all around, the commission support, the city staff support, and that's why we're doing what we're doing, just to extend our support to you all, just so the public knows. The city does support downtown businesses.
yes, we do.
That's it.
Yes, we do.
Yeah,
That's it.
Thank you.
cool.
You're welcome.
All right, from there, anything else on that one, Mr. Kitchens?
No.
Okay, then we'll move on to the Riverfront Community Center Indoor Pool Maintenance Overview.
Do we give customer?
Yeah, there's a gentleman that's in the office that did want to speak on this item, and since it was on the agenda, we don't have them sign up for public
It's not,
comment.
yeah, but it's just a staff report.
So I'm okay with if you guys are.
Yeah, it's the discretion of the
Yeah,
commission.
that's fine. If we could keep it to a couple minutes would be great. Yep, that's fine. Go ahead and come on up and limit it to
Name and
maybe a couple
address.
minutes.
Need your name and address, please.
Sure. Here, handouts if you'd like it. Thank you for the previous work, for this, and the city efforts for having open discussion tonight. My name is Garen Stillman. I operate 2 businesses in town. I live on North 13th Street in Leavenworth and have been in the area having first moved here in 1968. Raised 3 sons in town. I'm here to speak about the Central Business District policy. And in my notes that I prepared and wrote more than a week ago, I said, firstly, it's somewhat absurd. I want to change that a bit in that the figures that we're talking about are really unnecessary to talk about whether it's $100 or $50 or $25 this evening. The real bottom line comes down to, in the city of Leavenworth, we are really at the edge of the opportunity to grow and become what we were earlier, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years ago, or we're on the edge of the Missouri River and we're going to be those shacks that fall in. We've got to make a decision, and that's your decision with the consensus and support of the people. So do we have much of a central business district? Yes, we have a district, but we have a tremendous amount of derelict buildings, and these are the exact kind of things that are going to help us get out of that if we actually build it right. Does the fee structure and the proposed policy make sense? There's no way that the $100 a block comes near paying what it's really going to cost. But the value we get beyond from that is going to be in the thousands of dollars if we can really get the city to grow back on its feet the way it needs to be. The upside is, the downside is the cost. From a cost standpoint, the upside is we've had incredible recent events, and I really love that. Other cities in the Midwest have regularly scheduled quarterly and even monthly events, so we're in competition. We're in some regard with that. I'd like to see more of that. The request that you guys have just heard about has sat on city staff desks for 4 months, where the people that are trying to put it on have been waiting to market our community for that period of time. We can't sit on our hands that long. We've got to get an approval, we've got to say go for it and do it, or we've got to say, hey, quit thinking about it because we're not going to do it. One or the other. 4 months is way too long for the city to sit on an issue like this.
Yeah, Mr. Stippleman, I run out of some time if you want to go ahead and maybe conclude.
I got 4 bullet points. Develop a more comprehensive plan. Why haven't we? Where are our heads? Develop a plan. Get organized and improve and manage events timely. Third issue, what involvement is appropriate by the entities that already receive city dollars to help or drive such an annual event plan? People here from Visitor Bureau left. I'm not trying to pick at anybody, but we are paying good money to multiple institutions in town that could help drive this and lead it, if nothing else. The last one, get Leavenworth downtown vibrant and go up and growing again. That's what we need.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, Mr. Stippleman. Appreciate that. I would like to add one thing real quick. Go ahead, Ryan. You can come on up. I think the best deal all the way around is a win for every party involved. And that's what we're trying for. All right. Riverfront Community Center Indoor Pool Maintenance Overview.
Okay, Commissioner, I'll start briefly. This is sort of preamble to next week's CIP discussions that we're going to do. Brian and staff want to present some information to you as we start into the budget season. And so that's the purpose of this presentation this evening. Brian?
Good evening. Before Mr. Kramer left, he had asked me to do a comprehensive study of our indoor pool and what it'd take to bring up the stuff. So tonight, I'm going to do an overview for you in preparation for our CIP talks next week. There we go. Okay. So I went through the pool, the indoor pool facility, from the locker rooms clear out to where everybody swims and gathers and enjoys the pool, and looked at items that need to be updated due to age, due to the environment of the pool, and that have started to fail within our pool area. And I broke them down into 4 sections: electrical, masonry, furnishings, and mechanical. So when we look at electrical, we're looking at the lights that are over the pool. They're big cam lights. We're missing one of the cam lights. There's 18 of them. We have 25 4-foot strip lights that go through the locker rooms, the hallways, and so forth. They're falling apart. You can't get parts for the covers, and they're in bad shape. And then we have, our electrical panels, the wireways, and the, disconnects for the chemical room. So I'll show you some pictures of these. A lot of these things have been here since the pool was opened in 1988. So we're 36 years old, and so they're going to show a lot of wear, a lot of rust, and a lot of deterioration here. So the top picture are the big overhead lights. They are not LED, they are not energy efficient. They cost about $30 a bulb to replace. And then if we have to replace a ballast, it's even more. In the lower corner picture, you can see we're missing a light. And then we have some that just don't work. There's a 4-foot strip light. As you can see in that picture, we have tape on it. A lot of them have holes in the lights. They don't work. And once again, they're not energy efficient at all. In the other picture, you'll see the wiring, the breaker panels and so forth in our utility room. There's some areas where the rust holes are so easy you can push your finger through them. They're not safe.
Fire department didn't see that, did they? I'm messing with you. I'm joking.
Yeah. So you see there that that will all be upgraded, or we'd like to upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to do the electrical upgrades for the fixtures, the breaker panels and the 4-foot light fixtures, we're looking at $37,935. Next, we go into the pool masonry. If you've been into the pool, you'll see in the pool walls, there's metal steps. Those are stainless steel steps. They are starting to deteriorate and show lots of rust streaking down the walls. The caulk and sealant joints in the pool deck is failing. We're getting moisture down into the underneath the surface, causing some problems there. The acid room that is part of our pool chemicals, the door has corroded so bad over time we can't open or close it. We have a vent cover that's severely corroded. We're looking to acid wash the deck of the pool. It has basically 36 years of hard grime on it that needs to be pulled up. It'll make the deck look almost new. And then inside the pool, the plaster, it is highly suggested we acid wash that and not paint it, because the plaster surfacing is a very good product. It just needs to be cleaned. Repair damage to some concrete that's on the edge of the pool. There's some anchors that were, I don't know if they were put in place when the pool was built, but they were put in the wrong end of the pool. So there's old pool deck anchors, starting block anchors there. So we'd have those removed and replaced, covered up. And then we'd have the pool remarked for no diving areas and pool depths as well. So here are some pictures of all that stuff. As you can see there, those are some joints that need to have the sealant and caulking redone. Some cracking along the gutter, around the hand railings, and then that's the pool anchors, or the anchors for the starting blocks that I believe was mounted in the wrong place when the pool was built. Here are the vent covers and the acid room doors. The stairs I was talking about in the pool's walls, showing the rust, streaking going down the walls. We have this problem in every set of stairs that we have in the pool. That is the picture of the pool, what it looks like empty. And it shows, you know, just over time, the buildup of chemicals and stuff on the pool walls. And to acid wash that, it helped clean that up and brighten it up, bring more whites into it. The no diving, and then if we clean the concrete. So to do all that, we're looking at $44,701. The next thing is some pool furnishings. This has to do a lot with, the things that are on top of the pool deck. So we have our starting blocks for swim races and stuff, that we would repowder coat those, get rid of some of the rust that's happening on those. Replace the ADA chair lift. That chair lift is old, it's having problems. And the way the chair works is off water hydraulics. And so we have to stretch a hose across the pool deck, which then causes a tripping problem. And it's just not safe, and we need to upgrade it. We have wedge anchors that hold the ladders down to the pool deck. They're corroded and nasty looking, so we replace those. The diving board and the diving board frame. So the diving board frame is original with the pool. The diving board itself is not. But that being said, you can't replace the frame without replacing the diving board. So the whole thing will need to be replaced there. The ADA accessible style steps, which if you've been in the pool, they're really long white PVC type steps. Just being in the water over time, the chlorine breaks all that down, so we're in need of replacing that along with the treads on that step. And then our lifeguard chair, our lifeguard stand is showing some major wear that will need to be replaced as well. So these are the starting blocks for the swim teams, and then you'll see the wedge covers there that go hold the handles to get in and out of the pool to clean those up. The diving board, and then the far picture to the right there is the lifeguard stand showing some major rust happening. These are the ADA stairs going down into the pool, and then the ADA chairlift. And as you can see there, where we put the cover over the hose to help with the trip hazard, you can see where we have the hose across the pool deck. So to clean that up, to help that out, we're looking at $29,463 to do that. And now we're into the pool mechanical. So most of the stuff in this room has never been replaced, and you're going to see here real quick, like that it needs some help. So I have on here to replace the control package for the pH. Basically what that does is help us balance out our chemicals within the pool, replace 6-inch butterfly valves, replace the chlorine feeders, to replace the filter media, which is the sand inside the filters, and then to replace the pool boiler. Now the pool boiler runs 24/7, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so it is continuously warming. We have problems with it from time to time. And sometimes we have to shut down for a period of time to order parts for it, and the pool water gets cool, and we hear about it.
Yep. Not from me, it's from everybody else. Swimming.
So on the left picture is the device that helps us balance our chemicals. The picture on the right, the two big tanks is where the filters are. That's what cleans the water going through our pool system. I know that the filter sand has not been changed out in the last 15 years, so it's due. Here's some more pictures of what it kind of looks like inside. Now you see a big rusty tank there. Yes, it's rusty. Yes, the pipes are green, but the tanks itself and the pipes are still in good condition. They've just oxidized. So, but that being said, there's some valves in there and so forth that does need replaced. Here's our pool heater. The screen's going bad on it. You can't get parts for it, and so it's time to be upgraded. So to do that, we're looking at a total cost of $58,323. So to do everything, we're looking at $170,422. Now, talking to all the contractors that I've met with to get quotes to find out how to fix these things, every one of them said, if you're looking to do it over the next few years, you need to add 10 to 20% to those costs. So what I did is I went on the high side. I did a 20% increase for 2 years. And so that brought us up to $204,506. When we look at CIP next week, you'll see where I broke that in half and split it over 2 years. So two phases to do. So mainly tonight, this was to inform you what you're looking at and why that cost is so high for the indoor pool.
Yeah.
How many people use that pool? How many people attend that pool every year? Do you have numbers?
I don't know that number. It's used quite often.
Yeah.
Do you swim teams? Does Leavenworth High School still use that?
They do, yes, yeah.
Will that diving board allow you to jump higher?
Maybe.
I'll have to try it out, yeah.
That's good. It's a report.
That's real, yeah.
Yeah, this is something that's, I mean, it's been needed for a long time.
Yeah.
And I've gotten complaints about the rust around the area and just the look of it. And, you know, just, I think it's just, we do have a lot of people that use it. And like I said, our schools use it too. So I think it's
Basically a
we need to
4-year-old
have
pool
it,
that needs
yeah.
some attention.
yeah.
People have liked the redo of the dressing rooms,
Good.
the locker rooms.
Yes.
I've heard people
A little bit,
tell me
yeah.
it was great, but
It's improved, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so one thing that you
Now
did
the
not
actual
see a
thing.
part of this package, is the painting of the whole entire indoor pool, the locker rooms and things. We already have that budgeted into CIP, so you'll see
I was
that,
thinking
but
that.
it wasn't part of this study here.
Okay.
Thanks for getting all those quotes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
cool time.
Thanks for the pics.
Yep, cool deal. All right, no other questions? We'll move on to the consent agenda.
I move that we approve the claims for April 19th, 2024 to May 9th, 2024 in the amount of $2,331,842.70. Net amount for payroll number 8 effective April 19th, 2024 in the amount of $413,810.27. Includes police and fire pension in the amount of $7,491.28, and payroll number 9, effective May 3rd, 2024, in the amount of $401,966.66. No police or fire pension.
Second.
All right, motion's been seconded. We'll begin voting with Commissioner Bowder.
Aye.
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 All right, motion passed 5-0. And with that, we'll go around the room. Mr. Kitchens?
So, it is 2024-25 budget season. The budget team provided you a binder this evening that contains the capital improvement program portion of the budget. There's a couple of things about that. Number one, you'll see in there a different term that we have been using before, whereas before a staff member or a project would be submitted and we categorized it as unfunded. We changed that to unscheduled. So when you're looking through the project and you see the term unscheduled, the meaning of that is it was submitted, but we were not able to put it into consideration. And so that's a little bit of a different terminology. Part two of this is that this is a little bit different of a structure. Normally what we do is we have everybody together on one day. The capital improvement program is first and then the operational budget is second. We will discuss this with you in detail next week. That will be the single item on the agenda for the study session to review the capital improvement project. All of the department directors will be here and they, much like like Brian presented, they will present their projects to you. And so I would just, the theory behind that is we wanted you to have full information, the full week to study it, to look at it, and ask questions, to be a little bit better prepared for that. If over the course of the week you have specific questions, you certainly can reach out to me or Roberta, the finance director, Penny. We can help you with any of those questions. And if you feel like there's going to be some specific project that who's going to garner a lot of your attention, we would just maybe shoot us a note about that so we can be prepared, and the department director can really be prepared to answer those questions. And so this will be your opportunity to do that, and so that's the budget season. Any questions about any of that?
Not right now.
Okay, a couple of things. A reminder, Mr. Faust wanted me to remind you that Friday from noon to 2 at the Service Center is the Public Works Luncheon. You're invited to come out and drive some sort of piece of heavy equipment and have lunch.
You don't want me to do that.
And then the splash pad opens this Friday.
Yay!
And it's open from 10 a.m. to sundown. Mr. Grant wanted me to make sure that you know that. So
Cool.
That's it for me.
That's great, thank you. Mr. Angela.
I was rather excited this evening to come in and see so many people from the city, so many citizens who wanted to participate in how we do things, how we build these policies. And, they wanted to see it, not so much, they didn't get to so much participate, but, they got to see how the sausage is made, as they would say. And I was I was excited about that. I think that's wonderful. I love it when people want to come and be part of it and see it and make themselves known to us. So thank you all very much for coming, all of you that are still here and all of you that came earlier and had reasons to depart.
Cool.
And have a great week.
You done? Good.
And the end.
Okay. I just want to thank everyone that reached out this week in support of the downtown. Got lots of emails, and I hope I replied to everyone, and definitely want to echo what Jermaine said. We all definitely support small businesses, and I know the events that we're hosting downtown are valuable to all those small businesses. With that, we're starting to create this policy. I would like to hear from business owners downtown what you think the policy is. I know Main Street's here right now. Reach out to us, Chamber of Commerce. Let us know what you think the policy should look like. I'm not saying that we will implement it, but it would be good to hear what your thoughts are as we build this policy, because I think it's important to hear from the small businesses that are downtown. So with that, I hope everybody has a great week and good weather.
All right, thank you.
I just want to say I do support our businesses. I've always supported our businesses, and I will always support our businesses, and I don't like being accused of not supporting our businesses. But that being said, I want to change the subject a little bit. We just came from the retirement of Sister Vicki Perkins, and she's an amazing, amazing person. If you've never met her, she's like a little, what do they call her? Fierce.
Animal.
She's a little fierce lady. A very fiery, fierce lady. And she's done so much for so many organizations in our community. And the event was the people participating were from every church in town, practically every organization in the county, and pastors, and of course a lot of Sisters of Charity were there too. It just was really nice. And Sister Vicki, we wish you well in your quote retirement, because I know she's not really retiring, but anyway, that's all I have to say.
Fifth retirement.
Yes, a fifth retirement.
Yeah, just wanted to say congratulations to Sister Vicki on her retirement as well. I know she just retired from one initiative and is going to get ready to start a new one, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But also, man, just thank for everybody that emailed, reached out, and supported downtown businesses. I really hope that you all seen today how much the city really supports and loves our downtown businesses. And I know that it has already passed. But happy Mother's Day to Nancy, to Holly, to all the beautiful mothers that's out here in the audience, my beautiful wife as well, and then everybody in the community. Hope you all had a very, very enjoyable Mother's Day. God bless and have a great week.
Thank you. And with that, we'll wrap it up. Do you want to add, please, if you are a local business owner, please, if you got an idea, thoughts, suggestions, let's find out. Don't ask, why can we not? Let's ask, how can we? And that would be great. But thank you, everybody. One more thing, too. I want a special shout out to Mr. Grant and Steve and Brian, just for getting the sign put together like they did and arranging everything. The new Cody James Clark Skate Park It was really good service the other day, and all the work that went into that, and it's just cool to see how you guys care, and I appreciate that. So with
Science,
that,
cool.
have a great rest of your week, and I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.